Yeah, it's part two. You know, I thought I was going part one, but there was some stuff I left out. The Romans. It's important to know how the Romans, you know, dominated a large percentage of the globe. Later down their timeline. And it's important to know all the branches within the Roman family tree, right? The Spain, Portuguese, the French, the UK, the Greeks, the Greece, etc. Right? People get mistaken because of the Bible in Ethiopia, right? One of the oldest, right? The Bible came first, then Christianity came, right? Constantine, the Roman Emperor Constantine, introduced Christianity, and he developed it into something for his people to follow. 325 AD. 325 AD is when, Constantine introduced Christianity. Right? That's completely separate from the Bible. But the Romans would alter the original Bible to fit their narrative, to fit their agenda. They would use that as a conduit to, spread their rule, right, in a very sadistic way. Ethiopia wouldn't be introduced to Christianity until 341 AD, with King Giza. Yeah, Christianity is primarily a Roman concept, right? That's Roman bullshit, which is a bootleg, corrupt version of ancient Kemetic, symbols and signs. But that's a different conversation. He would spread the Christian faith across the Mediterranean world. The two prominent branches within the Roman family tree, right? The Spanish and the Portuguese, right? These will be the conquistadors. They would be called conquistadors within the 15th and 16th centuries, but they would just go across the globe and just spread the Christian faith and kill anyone who didn't want to be converted. Right? Going to Mexico, going to Peru, Guatemala. They would dominate the Incas earlier in their timeline. They would dominate the Aztecs, slaughtering millions of Twa people, Neanderthals. Even Africa, even parts of Asia, they will colonize and everything and create trade routes. Right? There's a lot of evidence that they sparked the birth of the Atlantic slave trade. These are very disgusting, savages. With permission and order from the papal bull, it will dominate. At least, 60% of the globe, if not more. The Romans and their primary branches would create the foundation of, the modern Western world, right? Or just the modern sapient empire that exists today, right? As a spider web, right? From the royal family to the Vatican to the United Nations to the different bloodlines, the different 13 bloodlines. France, Spain, Anglos. There's some nations that are trying to enter the family tree of the Romans, right? Like China and some of the Arabs and East Indians. Even Puerto Rico and Cuba and Hispaniola will be conquered by them. Right? Just by their disgusting acts, they will change the customs and the language and the dietary plans of the natives that they would slaughter, that they will encounter. That's why so many people speak Spanish in Central America. So many Nettles speak English in North America. So many Nettles speak French in Haiti, parts of Africa. Right? These are colonizers, conquistadors, right? Rooted from the Roman family tree. Even the word America has partly a Latin origin. The word America, right? The word Costa Rica, the word Puerto Rico. These lands have the name of these lands have Latin origins because of these conquistadors. It's important to know about these other early Roman forefathers, quote unquote. Julius Caesar, Alexander the Great, Leo Africanus, etc. Grenada, a lot of conquistadors will take over Grenada. Most of Columbus' crew were Spanish as well. They would slaughter so many. Rule. Just apply force on the natives, who were associated to the land that we're on. Nettles. These conquistadors, right? The Spaniards and Portuguese, they would force routes for trade. They would force routes to China, to Africa, to Europe, to certain parts of the Americas by force. They were very, very hardcore. The majority of these Spaniards and these Portuguese conquistadors, they were Christians as well, right? Yeah. Some were Catholic, but most of them were Christians. They would use the Catholic faith and the Christian faith as an excuse to justify their actions of, violence and bloodshed. All right. The conquistadors, they would dominate a lot of the 17th century as well. So 15th, 16th, and 17th century, they were doing a lot of damage, but mostly in the 15th and 16th. Remember, right? Remember, religion is the grandfather of racism, right? And Christianity is completely Roman, right? And it was forced, and the Catholic faith and the Christian faith were both forced across the globe, for a majority of the globe, through, aggression, bloodshed. That was the backbone of American enslavement, especially. When they conquer, when conquistadors pillage, they would, take golds and other resources. Especially when it took over the Aztec and Incas, they looted everything. They would even call out for most soldiers to come from Europe, thousands of them, to come and take more of the riches. Taking silver as well. Hoping to make the Spanish economy more powerful. Expansion was very important for conquistadors. Remember, the conquistadors are branches of the Roman family tree. Right? The Spanish Empire would dominate the Caribbeans, South Africa, in North America, South America, Central America, Caribbeans, etc. Yeah, know the difference. Know the difference between the Latin tongue, the Latin linguistics, and the Germanic linguistics. And it's very different. The French, Portuguese, Spanish, Italian, Romanian. They all are under the Latin linguistic category. At least 60% of English words have Latin roots, and 80% of English words in the dictionary have Latin roots as well. English, Norwegian, Dutch, Swedish, Danish, and, these are Germanic tongues, right? Towards the 17th century, a lot of Anglo-Saxons would, take the version of Christianity and alter it a bit more to fit their narrative, right? The Anglo-Saxons are, they're the latest branch. They're an honorary branch of the Roman family tree, right? They will come in. Britain would adopt the Anglo-Saxons, because their Britain is already a part of the Roman family tree. Britain would adopt them, right? Quote unquote, right? Because of the Anglo-Saxons, you have concept of demons and devils and angels, right? And saints, quote unquote. The word angel is linked to the word Anglo, right? Who speak English, right? Which is called Ingles in Spanish, right? And that's part of the reason why you see so many demon figures, quote unquote, with Afrocentric facial features, right? And you see angels with Eurocentric facial features. Yeah. So the English people are one of the newest additions of the Roman family tree. All right. Shit. Yeah, it's important. It's important to know the family tree of the Romans. Right? Very disgusting people. Very greedy savages. Barbaric people. Insatiable. Even that sword symbol have Catholic origins as well, which are rooted in Roman backgrounds. Right? Remember that, right? That's the grandfather of racism, right? Remember that. Religion. Also remember, religion is a coded communication system. among sapiens, high-ranking sapiens, right? Especially those within the Roman family tree, right? And the 13 bloodlines, right? That's why they say codified. They gotta stay codified. They have an obligation to keep Neanderthals across the globe suppressed and contained and as weak as possible, ignorant and blind as possible. Yeah, remember, okay? There's two worlds, okay? Higher-ranking sapiens, they use religion to communicate through code words and coded symbols to communicate within the second world, right? There's a first world as well. That's where they consume natural life and indulge in the blood and go back and forth from the moon and the underground cities and tunnels. That's all first world, but everything we can see with the naked eye, that's in the second world. Don't get confused.